Now we can take a look at those same techniques with a photograph of a person. And I think you'll see how the idea of using duplicate layers really comes into play on this type of shot more so than the previous image we looked at. So we will get this image here into Photoshop, and then we are going to zoom in really tight here. And as we zoom in really tight, we can notice maybe some imperfections in this woman's skin that we'd like to address. And a good example of this would be this little spot right here where we've got sort of some red patchy skin. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to create that duplicate layer. We can title it, again, retouch, and we can see that that layer comes up on our layers panel here. And my first way of addressing it would probably be to simply use that patch tool, and I think that did a pretty good job of it, and deselect that, and I think we addressed that pretty well. Another area of concern that a lot of people, when they have their photograph taken, immediately point out the bags underneath their eyes. So in this example here, we can again take that patch tool and simply go in and highlight that area and then drag it to a nice piece of skin below it, and we'll see it blends the two in, and we can kind of deselect it there. Now for this image, you can see how it almost looks fake there. It almost looks like something's going on there that's just not quite right. So we'll do one more of these little patch tools, kind of blend that in. And it almost now looks like that her skin is almost too perfect in that area. So here's where we can really utilize this duplicate layer. So if we go into the opacity, we can start to dial the opacity of this layer down a little bit. And if we go down to about 54%, we can see there's a little hint of a wrinkle underneath that eye, but it isn't nearly as dramatic as it was when we first started off. So there's our original starting point, and here's our retouch. So the retouch is kind of a subtle little blend that looks realistic, but still makes our subject here look a little bit better than they originally did. So we get rid of the exaggerated line underneath her eyes, and still kind of leave it there to blend in, but not make it look so much like, you know, she's a 20-year-old woman, which of course she's not. So I think that's the key to really good retouches on people, is that you make the retouches look realistic. You know, a woman this age wouldn't have the same skin as a 20-year-old, so we want our skin to look nice, but we also want her skin to look realistic. And again, we do that simply working with this technique of layers that we have available to us in Photoshop.